All right, the Reds talking Reds. Me, Gareth Roberts, got Lizzi Doyle with me today, and we're just going to pick our way through a few things that we spotted in the world of Liverpool FC over the past couple of days that we fancy. And that's it about. First off, there was plenty of chat on social media about Dejan Lovren. Plenty of chat among me and my mates as well, to be fair. But yeah, the news was that Zenit St. Petersburg were interested in him. Now, anyone who listens to the Anfield Apps podcasts as well as these free videos that we do will know that I did exclusively reveal some time ago that my mate is a gardener and does Degsy's garden. And, it's his understanding. This is a proper tabloid thing, isn't it? His understanding that, Degsy is looking to be on his way. Let's just say that. But where people have sort of got a bit, well, some people got excited because they want to see the back of them, let's be honest. Other people think we should be keeping him because he's an experienced centre-half and maybe if he goes, we're a bit short. But either way, the news was yesterday that Liverpool have an additional year option on his contract, which means he's effectively tied to the club until the summer of 2022. I think more to the point on that affects his price. I think that's what it's about, isn't it, Lizzie? Rather than it being, we're suddenly going to see Degsy play 38 league games next season. I think it's more, isn't it, that Liverpool think, well, we want to get a bit of money for him. They've blocked this path previously in terms of getting moves away, but I think he's been used sparingly, to say the least. I think a lot of supporters are at the end of the tether with him as well. It does look like he'll just move on if someone bids the right money, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a matter. I thought it was a matter of time for Lovren anyway. The keeping the year on, I think people are reading far too much into it, literally so they can get some money for him, because someone will pay it. Like, they will. He can still get into like a decent side. I just don't think he's Liverpool's level. I think I've said it before on a couple of podcasts. He's in that Mignolet sort of circle, isn't he? He's the Mignolet, Sturridge, Klein, Lallana. He's in that little group of players where they're sort of coming to an end. It's only really Jordan Henderson who's seen it out, I'd say. So it's his time to go. I feel like he's getting a bit of the Mignolet treatment now, where if you remember when Mignolet was playing, everyone would be like, oh, God. I remember when Loris Karius come in and then Mignolet come back in and everyone had the same attitude towards Mignolet. And I feel like Dejan Lovren's getting that now, and I don't think it does any good for him or the supporters. And I think we're all wise enough to know that he is a decent backup. But the thing is, that's all he's ever going to be, because we're currently the champions of England, we're currently the champions of Europe, and currently the champions of the world. And we need, he's not going to get in. He's not going to get in the side. So he's been here for a long time. He's been here for, God, how many years now? About 5 years, I think 2015. If he wants to move on, fair play to him, I say. I think it's probably his time to go now. And I think the only question marks people had about the extra year thing is obviously Liverpool probably don't look like they're signing anyone in this window because obviously of coronavirus. But what I will say is that we've got Fabinho there who can do a job at centre-half. So I'm not too worried about that if that is the case.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen Fabinho drop there. We've seen even Wijnaldum drop there against Brighton that time. But ideally, you wouldn't want to see either of those there, would you? I mean, Fabinho has been one of the better players since the resumption of football after the lockdown. You lose a lot, obviously, by him dropping to centre-half. And the other centre-halves at the club are young. And even Gomez, I mean, I love Gomez. I think he's a great player. I think he's a cracking player and he's got a great future ahead of him. Does seem to have the odd little dip here and there, maybe. I know Van Dijk absolutely loves playing with him and vice versa. And they are, you would think, they're nailed on first choice when they're both fit and when they're both in form. Then you've got Mata. But then the drop-off from there is quite significant, isn't it, to Hoover and to Sepp Vandenberg and that kind of thing. So would you see if we got rid of Lovren, we maybe step into the transfer market? I know there's all this talk of they're not going to do anything because of COVID, and, Klopp sort of warned about the budget and things like that. But equally, we've heard that kind of talk before, and then something will just happen. Do you think maybe centre-half's one of the positions they'll look to do something?
I think we have to if we get rid of Lovren. I think Man City is a prime example this year of what happens if you don't have enough cover. You know, Laporte gets injured, Vincent Kompany's gone, all of a sudden they're left with John Stones and Otamendi. John Stones then gets injured. And I know that's quite unfortunate, but that is what can happen. And the thing is, like, let's not pretend that Joel Matip's a player who keeps himself fit. Like, we know he's got issues with injury. And to be honest, so does Dejan Lovren, though. Like, the two of them, as good as, say, like Matip is, and I think when he's playing, he's great. I think when he's in form, he's a decent centre-half. He just doesn't seem to stay fit enough. I think he had a good run where I was like, where it looked like he was, you know, getting a bit better in terms of his fitness. But obviously, he come back, didn't he, against Everton, and he was straight off again, injured. And I think, like, if you're getting rid of Lovren, to have your backup as Joel Matip, who, like I say, hasn't got a sort of great track record of that, you need to have another backup that's not a midfielder, because again, I know it's different, but let's do a worst case scenario. Looking at Man City, if you have Fernandinho playing centre half there for pretty much the whole season, and like Otamendi, like, you don't want to put yourself in that position. And I think you can go out there and get a decent fourth choice centre half for a decent price, you know, that'll do you the job. Someone who's willing to come, who will probably never really get this move, who'd be willing to just come for, like, the experience. I think that's the type of player they need to go for. Maybe someone who is experienced, maybe someone towards, I don't know, the late 20s, early 30s. I don't know who that is. Like who? Yeah, like McLaren.
A Ragnar Klavan type signing, yeah.
Yeah, I just think, like, you're not telling me there's not one player in Europe, in this world, that wouldn't come and play for Liverpool for choice. You know, they'd probably get games and the like, because that's the thing, like, if we want to be serious about, like, getting the FA Cup and stuff like that next season, Champions League, we need more cover at that position if Dejan Lovren's going to go. So that's what I would do. Again, I don't know who the name is off the top of my head, but that's the type of signing I think we need to see if Dejan Lovren is to go.
I mean, hopefully everyone isn't going to shout at me, but I like Nathan Ake. So I think he can cover at left back as well. Would be my thinking on that one. I know he's just got injured, which is not ideal, but I think Arsenal have been linked with him. I think Defoe has been saying Spurs should sign him and stuff like that. I think he'd be all right. It's back to the thing of what you're saying to him and what you can guarantee to him. So if he comes here, is he going to play regularly? Will want to play regularly? And as you say, maybe it suits someone who's a little bit older. On Dexy, he's played 185, or has made 185 appearances for Liverpool, 8 goals in that time. We signed him for 20 million quid in 2014, and appearance-wise, yeah, it's not so great recently, it's fair to say. So, you know, he starts off, he's getting 38 appearances in his first season, then 39, then 32, 43 appearances in 17-18, but then 18-19 and 19-20, 18 and then 15. You know, so it's quite clear as he started to sort of be Homer Simpson going back into the books. You know, I think it is time for him to go. And I think people will say, and I've seen people say, well, you just keep him because he's experienced. But I think Klopp is quite fair in that, you know, when people want to go, he's not going to keep them against their will. I think you saw that with other players, maybe Lucas as an example, where he was sort of saying, I don't mind having him round and he can fill in different places and all that. But, you know, the Lazio opportunity comes up. Lucas wanted it. He let him go. And it was fair, and I think treating players fair, you know, contributes to the culture that we always talk about at the club and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, like, other players will look at that and go, "That's sound, isn't it?" Because you would, wouldn't you? In any workplace, you do that. If you see your boss treat someone well, you know, it gives you a bit of a fuzzy glow as well, shall we say? Okay, what other stuff have we got on here then? Lizzie's done the agenda today, so blame her. I did enjoy you. I'm glad you put this on there because I really enjoyed this. I'm a fan, I've mentioned before, of sort of, you know, lower league football, non-league football. I don't mind dipping into that at all. In fact, you know, we're not getting into this. I cannot be asked to talk about it. But, you know, let's just say the City thing. when I saw the City thing and the debate that immediately broke out following it, I just thought, I really fancy going to watch a non-league game and just having
all the shit.
You know, yeah. Having a pint, watching a game with me mates. No shit, no agendas, no discussions of who's a top red or whatever, or things like that you see on social media. But anyway, I did watch some of the Wycombe Oxford game, and then I got distracted by something else and ended up not watching the rest. But obviously, Wycombe did win for the first time in their history. They're in the Championship. And Akinfenwa, who's quite the character anyway, and also known to support Liverpool, gave it the big one, it's fair to say, didn't he, in his post-match interview? And he was talking about Klopp and saying he'd like to party with Klopp and all this kind of stuff. And from what we can see, reading between the lines, it looks like Henderson saw it, got in touch with Klopp. Klopp's recorded the message, and he's got it to him. And then you see Akinfenwa later outside his hotel or something by the looks of it, watching Klopp's message. And it was great, wasn't it? I mean, you saw on Twitter as well, I think Henderson congratulated him, Van Dijk did as well, and things like that. And it's just a nice footy moment, that, wasn't it? You know, like, because lots of footy in the modern day, and particularly at the moment, can feel quite wearing and drags you down, and it's not romantic, is it? Whereas this was great because, you know, he is a character. It's his first time in the Championship as well, and nice for the boys and Klopp to do that.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of the match. I just saw the news come through that they've been promoted, and I forgot he played for them, to be honest. And then his interview started doing the rounds, and I was like, what's all this about? But it's not just the Klopp thing, his first post-match interview. It's when, like, the fella's very, like, so you've gone to the Championship, and he's going, say it again. What did you just say? And I'm like, yes, go on, enjoy it. Why not? Because you know what? That fella's had criticism, hasn't he? He's had typical criticism as well. And I feel I'm made up for him that he's proved his doubters wrong in a way. You know, he's always been judged on his stature, hasn't he? And saying that he's slow and all this. And I'm thinking, fair play to you. You've got to, like, you're seeing his reaction to get to the Championship. That's what level the Championship is at now. It's seen as almost a Premier League 2 rather than it is the Championship, I think, because it's the Championship is the gateway into you know, the Holy Grail is the Premier League, and it's a big deal for clubs to get there, and especially if they can stay there. So I was made up seeing his reaction, and then when I saw the video of him outside watching the video from Klopp, it really made me day. Like you say, you just forget about all the shit going on with Man City. That's not even any of our business, really. Like, forget about it. It's happened. It is what it is. You've got this fella who's a lifelong Liverpool fan playing footy, getting a message from Jurgen Klopp after he puts it out there on Sky News, and the Liverpool captain sees it and then tells Klopp to do a message. I love the way Klopp went, I don't know if you know, but one of my players, Hendo. And it's like, yeah, I think he knows who Henderson is.
He's like his fella on it as well. And he's like, you know, make sure you celebrate, but do so safely.
Oh, I know. It was lovely, honest to God. And it was his reaction watching it. He just keeps going, oh, like he can't believe it. And I thought it was a boss moment. And like you say, you don't get that with Premier League, do you? That's the charm of the lower leagues that we go and watch, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I used to report on the league football, and I had some great moments doing so. And just one that came to mind then while you were talking was went to watch Marine once play a Manchester club, or a Greater Manchester club. And there was a lad up front who was pretty decent for Marine, and all the way through, a little section of their supporters were, you know, giving it all the scouts and stuff, and all the stuff about Liverpool and all that, and they were calling him a fat bastard as well. And then, like, it was a bit of a grim game, nothing going on, not many chances, and then he scored the winner, this lad. And you know when you say, like, when they always say, oh, you don't, you shut it out, you don't hear what they're saying and all that. I always say, bollocks, you do it. And he definitely heard it, and he just headed for that corner, top off, like patting his belly, and it was just like, get in, lad, get in. Like, you know, you just don't get, like, or you don't get too many moments like that in the.
I think I've seen one like that where Yeah, I've seen one like that when I've been to watch City Liverpool, and I think it was on the opposition as well. It wasn't even for City Liverpool, and he came over and just went like that on his belly, and I was like, fair play to you. Yeah, you know, it's a good laugh. And you know what? We talk about like missing Premier League football, but for people who do go and watch non-league football, that's a huge miss at the moment, because obviously in the Premier League we're treated like villains, aren't we? That can't be trusted. So at least in non-league you can just go wherever you want, stand where you want, stand with your mate, have a pint, and it's just you're there for the experience of it rather than watching the ins and outs and the, you know, the 4-2-2, 4-1 formations and all shit like that. You're watching it to just have a good time. And I think like actually just talking about this now has made me realise actually how much I miss it.
You can give them a bit of stick as well, you know, and again, I've done that, to be fair. And like, I remember, I think it was one of the last Marine games I went to. Can't remember who they were playing now, but they had a massive centre half. But he was barking out loads of orders and like, you know, giving it a bit of a big one, and like giving loads to like the Marine players during the game, like a bit of sledging and all that. So I thought, you know, if you're doing that, it's fair game. And so I just started taking the piss out of him, and I'm shouting out of the stand corner more kind of, think you boss you, don't you, blah, blah, all that, full it. And anyway, we're having a pint later in the Marine bar, and he walked in, and I was like, shit. He was absolutely massive. And I was just thinking, shit, soz. But, you know, thankfully he didn't say anything. But I remember once as well, we went to Bournemouth, this turning into non-league titles, but we went to the Bournemouth away game, and we went down like for the weekend, and we wanted to do something on the Saturday. I think we were playing on the Sunday, and we wanted to do something on the Saturday, and we thought, well, why didn't we just go to like a local non-league game? And there wasn't really one that local, and we ended up going to watch Dorchester. But it was Sam, we had a laugh, same thing. You could have a pint, you could go where you want, and it was similar on that. I gave the goalie a bit of stick. And to be fair, he was giving me stick back. but in the bar afterwards, he recognised me. He came over. And when he was walking over, I was thinking, shit, here we go. And he actually came over and he was like, good laugh, that lads. I enjoyed the banter. He said, I love that. And like, he had a pint with us.
That's boss, that. Maybe I need to do this to Alison so he can have a pint with me.
But anyway, back to the Premier League. One of the things that we are missing about football, of course, is actually being in the ground. And it is a question I've sort of been asking a few people when I've been doing bits and bobs over the last few weeks about, you know, are the conversations going on? Is there anything happening? We did ask Peter Moore about it, and he said, of course, those conversations are going on, but, you know, they can't really go anywhere until, you know, the governments, the health experts and everything else say there's something to do. But they are going on in the background. I know for a fact that some fans groups, supporters groups and the like have been consulted with about how things could work. And there was a piece in the Independent about this saying Premier League clubs are aiming for stadiums to be 40% capacity by the start of the 2021 season. Immediately, of course, that sparks a social media conversation, and it's all like, well, how are they going to do this? What's it going to be? Is it going to be L postcodes? Is it going to be fan card holders? Is it going to be season ticket holders? And it does feel a little bit like a logistical nightmare. Lots of logistical issues to be sorted out on it. And there's been various other stuff as well about sort of, you know, how would they be able to do the track and trace system? Would face masks be mandatory? Would there be some kind of electronic system? There's been loads of stuff. There's a system abroad that I read about whereby it could take your temperature really quickly, and then you would be allowed into the stadium, and they reckon they could do it that way. Then you've got, you know, what about when people want drinks? What about when people want to go to the toilet? Loads and loads of stuff to think about. But I mean, what do you think, Lizzie, of the basic concept of it, of the idea of it? We have seen it already in some countries. I mean, we did something on Talking Reds. My cousin went to a game in Denmark where they were doing social distancing. What do you think about the idea? Would you rather they do stuff like this and try and get at least some fans in the stadium, or are you a bit of a all or nothing camp?
I think I'm a bit all or nothing, which surprised me. I just think it's going to cause murder. I do. I think it's going to cause a lot of disruption amongst the fans themselves, because we all want to be in that ground. So it's like, you know, me and you are lucky to be season ticket holders, except I'm very much in the camp of probably a lot of people where, you know, you're going on someone else's season ticket because it's so hard to get one. And then you've also got fan card. Basically, people have to use other people's tickets because that's how hard it is to go the match. And we know that that's the reality of it, that unless you're very, very lucky to have credits in your name or a season ticket in your name, the majority of people will probably go on somebody else's. And that's just the way it is, because it's a logistical nightmare trying to get a ticket for the match as it is anyway. And I just think this could cause upset, because unless they bring in, again, they'd have to bring in a system where you can, I know they're doing like fan updates and stuff at the moment, but we weren't really preparing for fan updates for a 40% capacity season, were we? So it's like, did they bring in a system where, okay, you can, if you are going on someone else's name, you update your name? And also it's just, who do you choose? Like, is it a ballot? Do you go like, well, it's 40% capacity, so let's treat that 40% as 100, that 100 out of that 40%, how many of that 100% is season ticket holders, fan cards, and general admission? Like, how are they going to do that? And then does that mean you go into a pot? I honestly can't get my head around that.
I know you can go on forever with it, because what about the sponsors? What about the people who've got boxes? What about the people who are in lounges? You know, who do you prioritise over who, and how do you do it? You know, it could be back to the really old days, and you might be too young to remember this, when you know, like, to get away tickets, it wasn't always you needed like 13 aways from the previous season or whatever it may be. It used to be the last number of your season ticket. So like everyone with a 1 could get like Crystal Palace away or whatever. And they used to print it in the Echo saying what it was. So they might go back to something like that. I honestly don't know. I think realistically it probably would have to be, as you say, like a ballot system. But even that, you know that it would cause kickoffs, because as you rightly say, the situation we've got now with fan cards, season ticket holders, the issue of touting, you know, people selling tickets, all of that is a nightmare anyway. And then throw in that all of a sudden you're saying 60% of the ground's got to remain empty. I mean, all the best. I mean, I'm not going to lash his name out just in case, but I have met a few times, the fellow who runs ticketing at Liverpool, and he's sound, and he's from the city, and he loves the Reds and all that. I don't know how he sleeps at night, though.
Honestly.
Because it's like, where do you go with it? It's so difficult. And that fan update thing you mentioned as well, I'm not sure how much has been mentioned about it across the Anfield Rat, really. But I know that people are worried about it. And they worry about what it's for and what it means and all the rest of it. I had a fella stop me in the street and just say, like, you know, does this mean I might lose my, you know, an old fella, like, he was like, does this mean I might lose my season ticket? And I'm like, I don't think it's not meant to like catch you out, mate. It's just making sure tickets are in the names of the people who own them. That's my understanding of it. Like, basically, I mean, I know from the past that, you know, where people have passed away and they've passed on a season ticket, I know Liverpool have been sort of respectful of that and said you can change the name into, you know, a family member. And I think I'm right in saying that's what they're allowing around this. They've sent out a detailed email about it anyway. I've tried to get on the website a couple of times to do it and just gone, nah, it's not happening. Have you done it?
No, I haven't. And this
is till August, haven't we?
Yeah, it's like I say, I'm in that. I'm in the camp. I'm in the camp of like I say, it's a family season ticket, so it's all very confusing for the family member who's got it as well, because they thought they were just doing a nice thing and passing it down, and I haven't done it. No, I need to do it, but it's like it's confusing, and it's how do you explain it without them feeling like this thing that they've held on to for so many years, you know, is leaving them because it is like gold dust. And I feel like we're being a bit privileged having this conversation, saying this is our dilemma. There's people watching us will be going, you are so lucky. Like,
absolutely.
And it's just a nightmare in terms of, when I'm saying it, I don't mean in terms of it's a nightmare for the season ticket update. I've been there. I've been on the sales just like everybody else. I've only had this ticket about 2 years, so I've been in and I've done it on those member sales, and it's horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous. And that's what I just think, this 40% capacity thing's a joke. And I think like the idea that they can't have anyone sitting diagonally to each other as well. Apparently they can only be side to side or behind. No, I just think, don't make a rod for your own back.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. We'll see what happens. I'm sure as time goes on, more news will come out and more information will come out. I mean, on the season tickets, I put my name down mid-90s, and I got one in my own name in 2011.
Really? I think my brother went on it when he was, like, my dad put him on when he was born, so that's 91. And, you know, when they announced the Annie Road expansion, I think it's like, what, it's an extra, is it 6,000 or something like that? I can't remember. It's been so long. I can't remember the extra capacity they're putting on. But basically, he falls around that. So he's like, he's that's what I'm saying. That's 1991. That'll be, well, when that's finished, that's going to be, what, 2022 onwards. That's how long it's going to take. And obviously, there's a cut-off point, and he still might not even get it.
And the list's closed now as well. You can't go on it now. Yeah, it's mad. It always has been mad. That's why we needed a bigger ground, and that's why we still do. But that is another debate. Listen, we have got Arsenal tomorrow night, Wednesday night. We should be covering that as ever. We are previewing it. We will be reviewing it. We'll be doing stuff straight after the match like we always do. Jurgen Klopp's got a press conference today as well, and we'll be reacting to that in the team tour. So yeah, if you fancy any of that, download the Anfield app. You get some free tokens when you first download it as well, so you can just have a go of any of the premium content for free initially. And if you like it, subscribe. That has been Talking Reds. Nice one, Lizzie. Loads of stuff for you to get stuck into there. Loads of stuff on the Anfield app as ever, theanfieldapp.com. Up the fucking Reds.